Scaling ad account is the hardest part in media buying, and my guest Marin spends $5 million a month on multiple ad accounts to scale these accounts. He has cracked the code. He is sharing his blueprint in this episode. He shared 14 specific tactics that actually I applied and grew one of my ad account from 75,000 a month to 150,000 a month. So if you're looking to scale beyond 100,000, in this episode, you will learn all those tactics and you can immediately apply those. We really got into nitty gritty. Check out the episode. Hello, everybody. This is What's New with Advertising. Today, we have a special guest. This is Azar. Our guest is Marian, and we have a fellow co host, which is Marco. We both have agencies. Actually, we all have agencies. Marian, you run specifically kind of a media agency. So we'd love to know what you do for people who don't know you.
Yeah, so I run a boutique agency focused on paid social. Facebook is our bread and butter. We do some TikTok ads, Google ads, Pinterest, but Facebook is definitely what we are best at. The agency is a boutique one because I realized okay, you have all these big agency, you go to them, you start working them, you see someone who you talk, but then you end up with some junior media buyer. And that's specifically what I want to avoid. So that's why I have just 3 media buyers. All 3 of them I trained. 2 of them are working with me for the past 4 or 5 years, and I can call them seniors. And that's pretty much it. We run ads and we get some good results.
So for people who don't know, so usually you media buying is now turned into creative work. So most people have moved towards creative. I have moved towards creative. Marco has moved towards more creative. Do you do creatives as well, or do you just do media buying?
No. Media buying and creative strategy. So we don't do any creative production. We help on the creative ideation. We create some concepts for them. We do creative analysis, but we don't do creative production.
And so when a client works for you, what's the value do they get? Do they get the whole bidding part, the conversion funnel part, the strategy, the testing? Tell us who is your client technically?
Yeah, so my client is anybody who's spending at least 100K on ads. And I know you'll say but creative mode makes a difference. And I definitely agree. I'm a media buyer, and I think media buying is just cherry on the top. Once you have product dialed in, offer, and then creatives. But then if you're spending 500K, 300K, and then let's say you have ROAS of 2, and that's 600K. If I improve your results just by 10%, that's 640. So basically you're getting 40K extra just because of my media buying. So when we go into that level where everything is dialed in, then the media buying again makes a difference. Good questions. What do they get? They get that improvement in results, which basically justifies the fee. They get advices on the funnels, on the offers, on the whitelisting process. So it's more like a growth partner, not necessarily media buying, but yeah, technically, what we do in the ad account is called media buying, but all the other stuff we are on the advisory role, not necessarily on the implementation side.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. So Mark Zuckerberg recently gave a comment, right? And the comment was basically that if you're a small business, you don't need to really worry about creative. Just give us your bank account connection and we will do everything for you. And I started thinking about my career changes. So I want to know what you think about it, because these guys are technically not doing exactly like at one interview you said advertising is ads manager is their not priority, and the other side he says everything should be automated. So I just want to know your hot take on will media buying completely and growth will be automated and they don't need us? What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, media buying, I'm hearing for the past 5-7 years, even when I started, people were saying to me why are you going to do media buying? It's dying, it's becoming obsolete. But last year I had my best year ever in the business, and I got I got my 2 friends 3-4 years ago, and then I got my 2 friends last year into media buying, and they're all freelancing and they're doing well what they were doing before. So I mean, definitely the role of media buying is changing. So you're not I was the first guy in 2018 who was trying to hack, find the best interest. I had that audience insight, and I had a tool that was telling me which audience is available in the ads manager from all of these ones. So it was day of hacking. Obviously now it's more focused on the creatives, on the offers. So that's definitely evolving. Honestly, if they can make ad accounts work just by uploading the creatives and like connecting to the bank, that would be a dream. But we all know who is doing this business for at least 2 years that it's not how it works. There's always something. I mean, they cannot even make these automatic enhancement work properly, let alone to make like revenue coming automatically properly. I mean, maybe it would happen, and I think it would be beneficial. It would make our role slightly different, but if it's going to be more effective for the end user and for a client, I'm all for it. But I don't see it's happening like in a few years, definitely.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So you run pretty big accounts. So just FYI, whenever I write a newsletter, the best newsletter is always on media buying experiments. It's not about the creative strategy. Most people
Yeah.
like my experience on media buying, although I share a lot of creative strategy in the newsletter. So I I have tried a lot of tactics lately that like I now run sometime ad just video and just image ads and with AC campaign. And the reason is because like there is one image that is taking all the budget and is running as kind of retargeting ad. So that's why I started separating it and it started showing good results. So are there new tactics you've developed since you did your mastermind talk in the other sessions? And is there something that you've recently figured out? We all know your thumbnail strategy. Now I'm looking for like what are those new tactics that you've developed recently that you feel like we should go and check it, at least give it a try.
Yeah, honestly, I think the basis is still the same. I pretty much do ABO testing with a multiple variation where each concept is a new test. I try to get at least one winner from each of the concept. I scale right away in testing, and I move winners with the post ID to Advantage Shopping Plus. Why with the cost cap? Because it allows me to spend more on a weekend when a conversion rate is higher without me trying to understand how much I can scale on that specific period. So that's kind of like the core. The other stuff, like they're all nuances, like align the ad copy to the angle that you're running, align the angle to the landing page that you're running. Do whitelisting. That's definitely something that's performing very good for most of our clients. And whenever I tweet about it, I still get like a lot of people that are not familiar with that. So that's definitely getting more attention. I'm seeing more brands running it, and I'm doing that like for the past 4 years. So that's definitely something that has the biggest impact recently in terms of the results. In terms of these small tweaks, I know like some brands had success with tariff ads, tariff messaging. Although like it sounds a bit scammy and like not sure to what extent these brands have been affected by the tariffs, but they definitely had success, especially for brands that are like okay. For public to know that they're not like let's say built in the US. I have one client that had some success during Trump, when the Trump was reelected because he's selling merch that's around Trump.
Oh, I
So
know,
he's
I know,
like doing
I know that client.
so he's selling all the provocative um, shirts and hats, which works very good on some days. So like, there's no like, I mean, I'm a media buyer and I like hacks, but there's no ultimate hacks that works. It's all just like small tips that are working in conjunction.
So I want to jump in and ask a question here. If, let's say, for example, Marian, you get hired or you decide to work with someone with Inspire, right? Inspire is the
Yeah,
agency name, and you guys start working together. What happens after that? Do you like do because you're pretty famous for your audits, and
yeah.
I 100% steal your audit template and use it every single time we do an audit. It's fantastic, but like, what happens after they sign with you? Do you generally like have a template as to how you like to structure things and then
Yeah,
iterate from there, or
yeah.
what do the next steps look like?
Yeah, so basically, even before we start working together, I'm already done the audit. So I know like what's the problem. Is it in creatives? Is it on the funnel? Is it with the pricing? Is it that like they don't have enough creatives? Or like I need just like better optimization. I need to start using post ID or whatever. So basically, that gives me first couple of steps. When I'm in the ad account, basically after the onboarding call, I take over the ad account tomorrow. There's no like probation period or like I'm like doing research or whatever. Like I'm going to the ad account right away. So basically my first thing is that I go into like last year and a half, and I find all the ads that were good performers and I take their post IDs, because like probably 70% of them are not even running. So that's my first goal. I create a new campaign with those post ID. Usually I find like 7 to 10 ads that I organized in 2-3 different ad sets. And then I just relaunch
And these
them.
are in ABO, is that right?
Yeah,
You're launching
ABO.
them in ABO
Yeah.
with post ID.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, if I have like 12 ads, I'm going to launch them by similarity. Let's say one would be images, one would be videos, the third would be whitelisting, or like angle 1, angle 2, angle 3. So I try to group them somehow. And I launch that in an ABO. I go through their ad account and I check last 5 to 7 days, and I cut everything that's below the target. Not necessarily below the target, but below the average. Because if the ad account is struggling, if you're going to cut everything that's below the target, you could cut like the whole ad account. So usually, let's say target is 2, we are averaging 1.7. I'm going to cut everything that's below 1.5. So that cleans up a bit budget that I can use for launching my tests. Sometimes, like I change stuff like within a week, so there's nothing left from the old agency. Sometimes I have some campaigns from the old agency, like for 6 months, just because it's working. Maybe they have one ad set, maybe they have one ad, but if it's working, I'm not gonna kill it. That's what clients always ask me. Also, I start with ABO testing for all the new content that I launch. If I see that hit rate of the new test is pretty bad, let's say we get only 1 out of 10 concept that's working, then I would maybe move to the CBO with the minimum budget, or I would start with a lower testing budget per ad set, or I would tell client, hey, let's not push so many tests. Your budget is not high, your hit rate is low. Let's maybe focus on a quality instead of quantity. So basically, I try to figure out what makes sense. Obviously, that's not happening in a day. That's happening in a span of 2-3 weeks. By then, improve results like at least 20%, hopefully. So my goal is like, okay, I'm going to spend the same as you guys, but I'm going to be more efficient, which means you're making more. Or I'm going to have the same efficiency if that's what you're satisfied, but I'm going to spend more. Either way, you're making more money. Ultimately, the goal is to spend more with a higher target for us. And obviously, depending on how good or bad the results are, that's what I have a conversation with the client. What we need to do. Should I like pull back the budget, or should I scale, or should I just re-optimize?
And if creative is a factor and you need more creatives and your hit rate is crap, how do you approach that as a media buying first entity?
Yeah, so most of our clients, they either have an in-house team or they are working with outside performance agency. So basically, if the agency is feeding us, that's what we kind of like test, and then we provide feedback. If the in-house team is working and they're like, okay, they're not so fast in terms of like delivering creatives, they're like not know what to do, then we do a creative strategy. We do the research of their customer reviews, then we create like all the research document with the possible concepts that we know should work, and then we combine them with the data from these research, so that like, okay, here's a concept that works, here's a messaging that we think should work, and we combine them, and then tell them, hey guys, can you get us variations like that? Because every client that we work with, they have in-house designer, and basically we make those creatives super easy with like all the instructions. Like if you follow instructions, like probably I could do it in Canva, although I'm like used Canva like 3 times in my life. So they're like basically they get specific instructions what to do, because those angles it's easier to test with the statics because it's cheaper. Whatever gets traction, we tell them, hey guys, like now we have this angle that's showing some promises. Can you get some UGC? Can you reach out to your existing customers? Like if you cannot pay for UGC, like reach out to your existing customers. Can you, I don't know, send an email to all of your customers that you're giving them, I don't know, $100 gift card if you end up using their ads, using their video in the ads. You will be surprised how many people send you the video, because those are people that know your product, love your product. Like obviously they want discount and they want to showcase how they're enjoying the product, and they know what to say. So that's definitely one trick that kind of like is good for sourcing the content. We also go through their Instagram and go to the reviews to find an ad. Sometimes these like, like bad quality images from the customers, like they make best
do really
ads.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tag section on Instagram is a
Yeah,
big
exactly.
hidden
Tag
gem for a lot
section.
of people. Yeah. Okay, and I'm curious. So to recap, it kind of sounds like you go in and you immediately make changes by implementing your ABO testing strategy. You start launching ASC campaigns as well once you have your winners.
Yeah.
Those are all either bid cap or cost cap, or do you keep some open?
Mostly cost cap, just for the fact
Cost
that
cap.
I want them to spend more, because I never
Okay.
want to have same ad with the same type of audience or bidding or campaign time. So like, okay,
Okay.
ABO is lowest cost. Then like if I use the same ad, it's gonna be either different bidding or a different audience. So like in this case, it's different campaign, which is Untitled Shopping Plus, and it's a different bidding. It doesn't make sense for me to have the same ad with the broad audience both in an ABO and a CBO. That's why I don't get people
Yeah.
that like test an ABO, scale in CBO. Like it's same shit.
Okay. Interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. And then do you run multiple ASCs, or is it one ASC until you hit the, I think it's 125 limit now, or
Yeah,
how does that go for
so
you?
usually I start with the one. I have another, if a client has different targets per country, let's say target for US is 2, but for UK is like 2.2. Then considering I have a cost cap, I need different campaigns. Or if I'm advertising different products. So we have like, I don't know, protein shake, and we have, I don't know, creatine. They have different AOVs, meaning they have different margins and they have different CPA targets. So if I put them in the same campaign, and then let's say protein shake is cheaper, and then I have a cost cap, Facebook would spend all the money on that protein ad, giving me the target that I provided it, but it's not actually profitable for that ad. So basically, it really depends on the countries and on the products that I'm advertising.
For somebody who's like totally noob, although this is an advanced podcast, what is the difference between bid caps and cost cap, and when do you try to use it?
Yeah, so I'm a fan of cost cap. I'm gonna explain why. So bid cap is like it's a ceiling. So let's say you tell Facebook, hey, I'm putting a bid cap of $100. That means Facebook would never go above $100. It would give you CPA of like 93, 95, 97, 83, whatever. It would not go above. So basically, you'll miss some of the potential conversions. On a cost cap, you tell them, hey, I want to have around this. So it would go 93, 97, 103, 107, 110, 100. So basically, it would average out on that. So I'm okay with paying like slightly less for me to enter more auctions. Basically, cost cap is less conservative. Bid cap is more conservative. So depending what your goal is, it like slightly more volume or is it slightly more efficiency and being conservative? That's how you choose whether you want cost cap or bid cap.
How long does the cost cap takes time to get into effect? Does it take 3 days to start learning to get to the?
No, it can like start spending right
Because
away.
I have some accounts where I have cost caps, and the account never scales. If I've given that number, unless I keep changing my number, it never scales. So
I mean, depending how you set up the bid, like if you're like, I mean,
So let me
obviously,
ask on
yeah,
that. Actually, how do you decide what your cost cap is going to be? Let's say I think you have a soccer brand or a football brand as well, right?
yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay,
Yeah.
let's say you're selling cleats and your cleats cost, or boots in the UK, and you're selling them for 80 quid, right? How would you set the cost cap? Like, is that a
I
discussion you
usually,
have with? Go
yeah,
ahead.
some
Sorry.
people say like, hey, I'm gonna put that on my break even CPA, but like
Mm.
honestly, that doesn't make sense. If it goes above that, then I'm losing money. So basically, I put it at my target CPA. So let's say if it costs $100 and I want a ROAS of 2, that means I'm gonna set my cost cap at 50, and simple as that. And then I'm gonna see like, okay, is it spending and is it getting me good results? Because my goal is to find a sweet spot where it spends the full budget, and when it spends it gets me good results. So maybe like it spends fully on 50, but like people are actually, I don't know, not buying cleats, but they're buying something else, so my AOV is lower, so I'm not actually getting that ROAS of 2. Then I'm going to pull back. Maybe that means that like, hey, maybe I pull back to 45 where it's like just spending 1/10 of the budget. So okay, let's go back to 47. I try to find a sweet spot where when it spends, and when it spends it gets good results.
And how often are you changing those? Is it like you give it 3 to 5 days, or is it the next day nothing spending, you change things?
So like, I mean, if it doesn't spend in a day, and like depending how much it spends, if it spends like 1/10 of the budget, then I'm gonna probably adjust it. But I try to get it to spend most of the budget, so I'm gonna keep it. So basically, first week I'm trying to calibrate, but in most cases, like whatever you set it, it's gonna get some spend, and then you adjust from there.
And do you change your number? Let's say it's 45 in Q1 and Q2. Do you change it in Q3 and Q4, or is it the same year round once you?
Yeah, that's a good question. It really depends what the clients want. Like, do they like want efficiency, and then like, okay, we are cool here. Like, I don't care if it underspends on some days. I just want it to be stable. Or like, I have a client that told me yesterday, hey, like, there are a lot of competitors showing up in this space. We were among the first ones. I want to capture the market, no matter if we like on a break even, because it's a skincare. So like, okay, I'm gonna spend a bit more. Like, basically, I'm like, okay, you tell me what your goal is. I have a mechanism within the ad account that I'm gonna get to that target.
Although you don't have entire control on the creative strategy.
Yes.
So
I mean, like the clients that I'm working, like, they're giving me 10 to 15 creatives a week, concepts. So like, why I would have an agency that does creatives? I need like 5 more people to do that. I need, like, it's way more hassle, and then like I need to beat someone who's doing creatives for the past 5 years. That's like why a newbie media buyer cannot beat me in a media buying, because he's just starting. Same as like I could potentially beat you guys that are doing creatives like in a 2, 3 years, maybe, like, but I don't know, at this point, while I have I have luck that most of my clients have that capacity. I have my junior media buyer who's working with the like smaller clients, and it's a struggle. And I know he would do better if he's managing at accounts that I'm managing. But it's just reality that at this point, I don't have to work with the clients that not necessarily don't have the creative capacity.
What do you call smaller versus bigger? Like, what is your
Exactly.
junior buyer roughly working on?
So he's like managing the ad accounts that are spending like, so like I have 3 media buyers. One is managing the ad accounts that are spending up to 1K a day. So that's a kind of like service that we added, like, because I had a lot of people that wanted to work with me. And I told them, hey guys, like, you're not spending even 1K a day. I don't think it makes sense for you to hire a media buying agency. Go hire a creative agency, like work on your offer, make your product better, hire a CRO, like do anything, because Facebook ads is not going to change. But then like they said like, hey, but I still want to work with you. And I said like, okay, I'm not going to manage the ad account. I have a junior media buyer. Like, it's a like, Godfather price. It's just like, to cover his expenses. And like, we're going to see if we can change anything. If we improve their results just like 20, 30%, because these guys are like sometimes making like foolish mistakes. So even my junior media buyer knows better than them. That's one.
Well, he's trained by you, right?
Yeah. The other is managing the ad accounts that are spending between 1K and 5K. That's kind of like, or like 1K to 3K, depending like, okay, how much they're spending, like what's their capacity. Some like give us like 3 creatives a week. Some give us like 5 creatives a week. Some give you like 2 images a month. And they're like, okay, I need to go to tag Instagram and find photos. Then I have third media buyer who's managing the ad accounts that are spending between 3 and 15K a day. And then whatever spending more, it's mostly me.
So I have an elephant in the room for you. I've seen
Yeah.
Advantage Plus campaign. Motherfuckers never spend fairly equally to the creative that you put it in scaling campaign, and it happens all the time. As soon as I keep running ads in the manual campaign, it works. You put it in an advantage campaign, it doesn't work. Then you think, oh my god, the creative was shit, but you run in manual campaign, it's working. And I know you do manual campaign specifically for this specific reason. What I want to know is, have you seen an account where you've seen actually the opposite effect, where it's fairly distributing and it's not just one account, multiple accounts?
Honestly, I don't care what gets spent in Advantage Shopping Plus. For me, I treat that like Hunger Games. Like, here are all the winners. You spend on whatever you want. I don't care if you're not going to spend to the new ad that I added. Why? Because I'm running it in my regular campaign. I had some people that like reach out and tell like, hey, like, did you ever notice when you move ad from a regular campaign to the Advantage Plus campaign that like it starts getting the spend, but then this one in the testing starts dying out? So basically they're saying that like you cannot have the same ad running at the 2 different campaigns, but they're like affecting one another. To extent I saw that, but I check like, okay, if it's spending like here 2K and here it's spending 1K, it's like, I mean, it's still better than spending just 2K. So like, I'm not necessarily like looking, hey, I'll need an ultimate winner. That's why I don't do CBO testing. I don't need an ultimate winner. I need like 2, 3 good ads, and I need like 5, 6 supporting ads, because these 5, 6 supporting ads, they're carrying the additional scale that I'm not getting in a CBO.
Got it. Got it. And when I think about scaling, and then I think about fatigue, you know, like there's a point in time when your darlings are actually dying and the creative fatigue is starting to kick in. How do you kill the ad or like turn off that? Do you immediately turn it off, or do you like you wait for a while, reduce the bid on it, reduce the budget on it, and you slowly kill it, or like you really like, okay, this is not gonna provide value, I just gonna cut it?
Yeah. So again, depending how bad the ad is, like if I see like it was running for like, I don't know, a month and a half, then it started dying in like past 4 days, like I might not kill it, because like, okay, it was running for a month and a half. Then I would check like, okay, what's happening? Do the creative metrics dropping, or like, is it conversion rate that's dropping? Is it just that ad that's dropping, or the whole ad account is dropping? If the whole ad account is down, then like, okay, it's not up to this ad. If it's only this ad, then I'm gonna see like how bad it is. Like if my target is 2, that ad is at like 1.6, I'll probably leave it, because maybe it's doing like top of the funnel. If that ad is at 1.2 and Facebook is still spending on it, and then like it's bad in the past 5 days, but it was good for a month and a half, I would kill it, I would duplicate it, I call that a resurrection, and then I put it back on. And in like 8 out of 10 cases, it just continue where it was before. It's kind of like, okay, Facebook glitched for 5 days, and like now it just kicked back and it started performing. So that's like a small trick. I know it sounds silly in 2025 that like you duplicate the ad and just like restarts, but it works.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And when you think about scaling, right? How often do you double or increase a budget? Like, what's the cadence of it? You do it every 2 days? You keep increasing it just
Every day or every 2 days. Yeah,
every two
depending how
days.
good the results. Yeah,
So
like I usually optimize Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then increase on the weekends again. But if we are like in a scaling mode and the performance is good, I would increase every day.
okay, I have a question for you. I have a client who struggles on Friday and Saturday. Like you are so lucky that you get clients who are on the weekends are working for you. Mine are like all of
Is
them
it
not
is it B2B client?
B2C, all B2C.
Okay, that's strange.
And then the thing is, so I think the reason why the numbers go down is because people actually get out of the door. Saturday, I go for my own grocery as well. I do shopping as well, and I feel like people do shopping offline, not online. The only thing I do on the online thing is when I have to book something that is actually online. Otherwise, I am not booking, which is online. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking like what I have started doing is like starting to add like weekend offer that starts on Friday and turns out on Sunday, and then that way like they know it's a limited time, it's gonna be on that period. So I don't know, like, since you have not had problem on the weekend, you had problem on the weekdays, do you do anything special to get more sales during the weekdays so I can do that on the weekends?
So I had one client that had similar stuff. Like he told me, "Hey, like our weekdays are better." Then I said, "Like no way, there's like that's not happening on any of my clients." But we realized that's a product that like you had to upload an image of you or yourself or your pet or your couple, and like it gets printed. So basically, when people were at home with their spouses, with their girlfriends, they were like avoiding to do that because it was mostly bought as a gift. So like obviously that was a specific example. So for them, I was descaling. I was like lowering the budget entering weekend, and then I was scaling from the Monday. Usually I scale on the weekend, and on Monday I decrease budget no matter how good weekend was, because I know Monday would be shit. In your case, I would just do the opposite.
Okay, so that's what I'm doing exactly. Marco,
I'm
what's your
curious.
where do you lie, weekends on the weekdays?
It's pretty consistent except for in B2B. But we pull spend Mondays aggressively. B2B, we pull budgets by almost 80% on Friday nights. Because Saturday, Sunday, we're lucky if we get one purchase.
I got my first like B2B client. He asked me like, can you run ads? Like they have some kind of like service, and I said like I never did that. So like we started running that, and then like wow, like weekend was terrible. So I remember that I tweeted like, hey guys, like what are you doing that you're managing B2B? How are you managing that? So I tried different things. First, I tried like lowering the budget. That worked decently. I tried killing the campaign, so basically not lowering, but like turning off and turning on. That worked terrible. I tried cost caps. That worked decently. Basically, I forced all of the stuff into cost cap, but like when you have multiple ad sets, like it just becomes too messy. So basically, we stick to just lowering the budget.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So I have this B2B client. Sorry about my this B2B client. They have they so the client actually serves medical professionals, and during the weekdays they are busy, but on the weekends they are free. So we see a lot of sales, a lot of like bookings on the weekends, and so we increase our budget on the weekend. And this is the only client that works. And I think this, putting it cap to it, it actually kind of makes sense to like, okay, this is the cap and this is how, then I don't care about which days it's coming. It's just like, okay, this is what we need. So it kind of makes sense. Marco, you had something.
Yeah, I had a question for you, Marin. When I know you've worked with the hoodie, sorry, and a couple of other people as well, but if you have a, let's say, female apparel brand, it's like fast fashion, would you structure things differently based on what they're selling?
So basically, for them, like I don't think like I think those are the only clients that you can scale with images. Usually, images do retargeting, but for apparel, jewelry, toys, basically products that are self-explanatory, images do very well. So basically, and what do very well for them is also catalog. So on a side of the what I mentioned, I have additional catalog campaign, and instead of one testing campaign, I have testing campaign per collection or per product. Let's say leggings, shorts, I don't know, tops, hats, whatever. Basically, I try to have a campaign per product that allows me to compare front end metrics like CPM, CPC, click rate, as well as conversion rate and AOV. So basically, just for the sake of organizational purposes, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it impacts the performance. It's just easier for me when I see like, hey, hats and leggings are doing way better than the I don't know, shirts.
And let's say this client drops a new collection every single week or every 2 weeks. How
Yeah.
does that change your strategy?
I just have a new campaign for a new collection.
Every time there's a new collection or new drop, you add
Yeah.
a new campaign.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then like, okay, let's say we get like 5 new concepts for that collection. Probably like when
Yep.
there's a spike when you launch it, all the regular campaigns would also do way better, just because there's a launch. But that again, it gives me insight how specific campaign is working, and then when I get some additional content pieces, because they probably seeded the product to the influencer about that collection, I know that, okay, this is the collection that I can launch it. It's just easier for me to track it that way. So it can become a bit messy that like you have like 5 collection campaigns and then like 5 drops campaign, but like sometimes I just have 2 ad sets there, sometimes I have 10. It's just easier for me to have some kind of like similarity per campaign.
So let's talk about future of media buying. So what do you think like we need to be prepared for, because now the AI is taking over? How are you equipping yourself to become a better media buyer, and like to make sure that like, okay, there will be something that will be automated, but they will still not be able to do this, and I'm working on this already to improving it?
Yeah, honestly, not much. I mean, I'm still trying to like incorporate AI into my workflow. I find it mostly useful for research and for analysis. In terms of like the media buying as a media buying, not really. Obviously, when I want to check something, then I do like, hey, can you like check this and tell me what's happening? I think it would make a impact on the creative side, and like it's good to have like from that 0 to 1. I have an idea, like, but I'm not a graphic designer, so I don't know how to even explain that to a graphic designer. But now I can go and like, hey, something like this, I make a concept, I make a draft, and I tell to create into a graphic designer, hey, can you make me this looking like a proper ad? So I think that's kind of like something that is useful. What's going to happen in the future? I don't know. Like, I mean, things would change, but like I think big guys, as like both you and I, we pivoted like a couple of times, not necessarily pivoted, but like, okay, we were like all interest, and like someone said that like they're doing broad, and like, wow, no way you're doing broad, like that was 7 years ago. Okay, and you start doing that, then like, okay, this is a problem solving product, we need to like learn advertorials. Okay, then we learn advertorials, then we need to like know how to script an ad, then we know how to do a creative analysis, and then we like basically, like it's like
You're
a river.
adapting.
Yeah, you're adapting.
Yeah.
So like we adapted like a few times. So I don't think that like it would be something drastic that would like take us like out of job.
Okay. One more thing. You have really big clients. I have to ask you this question. Clients who are crushing it on Meta and the clients who are
Okay.
not crushing on Meta, what is the difference between their creative strategy and their operations that make them better?
So, I mean, it's hard to crush if you're a big brand just with Meta. So I think like everything else outside of the ad account has an impact. So like not necessarily PR, but like, okay, how much are you doing seeding? Like, do you have not PR, but like, do you have some influencers that are promoting? Are your products like great, like way to promote word of mouth? Do you, I don't know, have multiple products instead of one product so the people can buy bundles? Do you have ability to create offers? Do you have great margins that allow you to push more? I have some clients that have target ROAS of like 1.2. So like it like sometimes like I get that client and I'm like, how can you not get 1.2, like I don't know, from previous agents? And then I start running ads and it's not that easy. Like you're thinking, hey, like 1.2 I can do that, but like you're spending 20-30K and then like you need to get 1.2. It can be, sometimes it's like hard in terms of the creative strategy. Like they're all launching at least 10 concepts a week.
10 concept means like 10 different videos with 3 different variations, so like 30
Exactly.
videos, 30
Exactly.
different creatives.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So at least 10. And then like obviously it's a numbers game that like, okay, you'll fail more, but you will also get more winners and you'll get them faster. So I think it's definitely a combination of those things. Then also what Marco mentioned, like launches. So like how often do you new product launches, or like new collection, or like maybe new colors, or like how often do you like do some kind of promotions? Let's say Memorial Day, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day sale, Father's Day sale, stuff like that.
Got it. And the like, what do you think about the big swings? How many of them actually are making a big swing on their own ad account and they're trying to do different things and like following the suit, looking at features point ad and copy pasting the features point ad? Like that's not a big swing.
I mean, mostly they like at that point you already know like a couple of angles that are working. You might try to unlock new angle. I think that's considered a big swing, that like you don't go for, I don't know, CrossFit, but you go for I don't know, whatever is like smoker's line or whatever. So that's a kind of like a bigger swing because you're going for a different angle. And then you're trying to do as much as you can within that angle with like authority piece, with mashups, with like clickbaity hooks, with I don't know, us versus them, with unboxing or stuff like that, with AI actors and stuff like that.
So AI is working, AI actors are working in your ad accounts?
There's like I use arcades, not necessarily like they are scalable, but we find them working good for like testing new angles. Because like if I have a new angle and I need to get a video, I need to send it to the creator, she needs to film it, maybe she's not comfortable doing that, but like this way I can do authority, I can make an authority, and then like, okay, it's good for testing the angles that got some traction. So like it's kind of like step between the images and like paying to the, I don't know, doctor for white.
How do you measure it? Do you still measure based on CPA or you measure based on soft metrics?
Yeah, CPA. I mean, soft metrics, not necessarily, because sometimes it's up to video. But like, okay, maybe like I also check CPMs and frequency to see, okay, like if this is something that's scalable, if this is something that has a competition, if I may be using too aggressive language, they get high CPMs, stuff like that. So basically, at this point, we still treat it as like, okay, more as a testing ground for the angles instead of, hey, like I made this ad with AI, it's crushing.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much, Marin. Marco, do you have any questions?
I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
Well, I have a million questions, but I know we're out of time, so I have one final question
We'll
for
do
you.
this again.
I've personally found that the best creative strategists were previously media buyers, and that creative strategists that are only creative strategists that have never that like understand metrics but have never actually done the media buying tend to struggle in the long run. And I'm curious if you found that to be the same or whether you disagree.
That's a very good thesis. I heard that like I think 2 days ago on some other podcast that guy said that like he made his media buyer creative strategies and like it's working way better than when he made a copywriter creative strategist.
That's what we did. That's why I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm about to launch
Uh,
a course teaching people media buying as well as creative strategy. Just FYI.
got it. Honestly, I don't have like any hard data. I never like tested that, but it definitely makes sense because like I had one creative strategist and like I was explaining to her like, hey, it makes sense, but the frequency is high, so like it's doing retargeting. So she was like, okay, what? Why that would like so like some nuances like that they make a difference. Obviously, if you have like a senior creative strategist, although I don't know how can someone be like senior because like that job started like existing like 2 3 years ago. So basically, it's hard to generalize and say, but I definitely think that having media buying helps. On the other side, I think it's easier to create for a creative person to learn about Facebook ads than for a Facebook ads analytical person to learn about copywriting and psychology. So from that perspective, I would argue that like, okay, copywriters are making a better creative strategist. So I think it's probably somewhere in between when you have someone who is doing something, but he knows a bit more about the other side.
I think my opinion in this is that like if you don't understand, if you don't know how to look at the data, tools like A3 and Motion has made it very easy to like to make it easy for you to understand what's going on in that account. But like if you don't understand the data, then you cannot become a great creative strategist because the whole point is to understand the data to apply those stuff from data to actually to your creative to actually make it work. I feel like so I do feel like media buyer have an advantage. And if you like before creative strategist role, there was just media buyers who were running ads.
Exactly.
So like
And they were used to reporting to the clients on, hey, this is like good, it has a good click rate, but like, hey, I think it's a bit too clickbaity, or like this is slow, can you speed this up? So basically we're used to providing feedback like that. We're just like, okay, not doing that at the moment because it's becoming overwhelming.
thank you so much, Marin, thank you so much for coming over. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. We made a great episode out of this news this
Yeah.
entire impromptu hangout. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking for media buying
Yeah.
tactics. They would love it.
Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Good. Thank you so much
Bye
for
bye.
coming, man. I appreciate it. Bye bye.